Okay, they say evaluate this integral without using integration by parts. It's a definite integral. So I'm going to say, maybe visually it might be helpful. Unfortunately, I would say trying to get the antiderivative seems like it might be impossible. So one thing I want to do is I want to translate the integrand pi units to the left. So I want to make an integration that looks more like this over here. Again, you may wonder why that is. I'm hoping that when I do that, that this thing becomes odd. All right. What I mean by that is if I'm looking at an integration now, it looks, I'm not saying what it looks like, but let's say it looks like this over here is odd. The area there would just cancel themselves off. All right. So I'm going to take this integrals from 0 to 2 pi and move it pi units to the left. All right. Then get my eraser out and erase this business over here. All right. How are we going to accomplish that? We're going to let u equal x minus pi, or u plus pi would equal to x. All right, what's dx? Dx is just du. So relatively simple. Let's write that down. So at 0, when x is 0, you get minus pi. And when x is 2 pi, you get pi for this limit. So I got symmetric limits about the origin now. So what are you going to get? Sine. And what's x? Well, x is just u plus pi. Plus sine. What's x? U plus pi. Plus sine. That's going to be tough to jam it in there. U plus pi. Let's see what we got over there, because we have 2 more to go. And that's going to be du now. All right, let me show you where this is written. And it's written up nice and neat for you. Minus pi to pi. I got the sine, u plus pi, sine, u plus pi, sine of u plus pi, and a du there. All right? The next thing I want to do is, looking at the integral, it still looks like a nightmare to me, but at least if I could show this function's odd, what I mean by that, let me get my eraser out. If I can show this thing is odd, this limit, this integration would be 0, but that's going to be a little tough though. So what I want to do is I want to use an identity that you probably are pretty aware of, that the sine of a plus u, I'll go through it by the way, I'm sorry, a plus pi is equal sine of a cosine of pi plus the cosine of a sine of pi. What would this give me? It would just give me minus sine a. All right? So the question is, what's this going to accomplish for me? Well, we got to do it in pieces. So we're going to take that integrand, and we're going to be using this identity. We're going to be using the sine. Let me outline that for you. We're going to be using this identity over here now. All right? And it's repeated. It's all over the place. So we're just taking the integrand, and let's just do one piece of it at a time. So I'm going to start to erase, and let me tell you what piece I want to do first. All right? I want to do this piece over here. All right, so all I want to do. And what's that going to give me? Again, we're using this identity here. It's going to give me a minus sine of u. So I see that right over here. All right? Now, by the way, I'm kind of done with that, and I want to keep moving. All right, so keep moving. Let's erase. And now I'm looking at, this thing over here. I'm going to rearrange a little bit. So I'm going to put this over here and that over there. So I'm really back to the same idea. All right, so let me tell you what we're doing now. We're going to look at that and use that identity. And again, what identity? This identity over here. What's it going to be? Minus sine of u minus sine theta. All right, so we're kind of moving along. All right, I'm looking at this now. And what I'm going to do is, keep things around. So I got u minus sine of this thing. Crazy looking thing, right? You know what? I think I need an extra parentheses in there somewhere. I think I might have typed that incorrectly. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, I did. I had to correct this. I'll do that in the key, by the way. And it's always tough to match parentheses, but it's sine of u minus sine u. I get my thing out over here. I'll correct it. You're not going to see that. And then this, that could have happened. Let me see what I did over there. And that's going to be sine Yeah, I had to make a correction there. All right, and I got to delete one of these parentheses over here. All right, boy, I really got to clean that up, don't I? It kind of looks nightmarish. What was that going to give you? And I got to really clean it up. Another deletion over here, by the way, but I will clean it up, by the way. And I got the same identity, use it again. What's it going to be? The sine of u minus sine of u minus sine u. All right? Boy, I got to clean this up. All right? So the next thing I got to do is show it's odd. All right? But what I mean by that, the function I'm looking at now is f of u is equal to minus sine of u minus sine of u minus sine of u. I'm getting dizzy with all those parentheses, by the way. You know what? I'm gonna have to back up a little bit. All right, let me back up. I'm gonna try to rewrite that a little bit neater. All right, let's go back over here. So f of u is minus sine. It's always tough to match parentheses, I'll be honest with you. I'll just use different ones. U minus sine of, let's see, u minus sine u. I'll close this out. Maybe I should use color. I don't think I need color. I got this over here. By the way, I don't think I made a mistake in the parentheses. What I noticed is I got so many nestings, it's hard to look at it. But I didn't make any mistake. This is the parentheses over there. It looks pretty good, all right? Nothing's wrong with that. I made a mistake. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to show it's odd. How do you do that? Yeah, you write down f of u. And for a function to be odd, that means f of u would equal minus f of minus u. All right? So let's take a look at that. You know, write f of u down. We got that written down. Let me see if I've done that right again. Yeah, looks okay. And I'll put this down next. And this is the problem for me. I got to play around with it. All right? So what do I know about this over here? We'll just go one step at a time. That's going to be f of u. All right? So I'm going to say over here, let me see if I did that right. Minus this thing, I got... Oh, I see what I did. I didn't do that. Let me erase this. I'm going to check what I did over here. All right. I did this whole thing. All right. Again, it might look confusing over here, but f of u equals minus f of minus u. All right. Another way of looking at it is you could say minus f of u would be f of minus u. All right. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, got f of u over here. I got written over here. And let's see, I got this here. Let's keep going. Boy, it's a lot of nesting, isn't it? Then I'm going to do, let's show what we're going to do next here. Let me erase this over here. We're going to do this guy now. That's going to be, let's see what that's going to be. Oh, no, I didn't do that. Let me erase this over here again. I did this guy. It's all over the place, isn't it? You get this guy covered. And then I do this whole thing. And what's that going to be? This right over here. And we're at the end. We got it. What do we get? Minus sine u minus sine of u minus sine of u. And is that what f of u is? And let's take a look at it. Are they the same thing? Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Yep, same thing. So what do I know now? That original nightmarish integral, this thing over here, let's go back over that, that this nightmarish integral here actually boils down to something much simpler. I maybe shouldn't say simpler, but it turns out that, you know, symmetric limits about the origin, and this is odd. All right, let me write that down for you. This thing here is odd. So whatever it looks like between minus pi and pi, if it's odd, whatever's here would be identical to here as far as appearance, but this would be a positive area, that would be a negative area. And it would sum to 0. That's all we're saying. That's a tough integral, though. Again, is that the only way to do it? I don't know. But I'd be honest with you, I don't think finding an antiderivative that thing's going to be possible. All right. I could be wrong, but the bottom line, it just doesn't look like it's doable. All right. But certainly looking at it visually does help. Thank you.